There are fleas everywhere.
Welcome back to the closing table. I'm Trinity Thompson.
And I'm Corey Hunt.
And we are going to get into some horror stories, some funny stories, a little bit of raunchy stories from our most memorable real estate transactions to date. So, without further ado, we're going to kick things off with our funniest memory and transaction in real estate. And I'm going to start with one of my most memorable, just hilarious, jaw dropping transactions. Lenders always have to verify funds. We have to get bank statements and all of those fun things. So I had a client who refused to send me bank statements for weeks. I'm telling you, this guy, he would not send anything. It was absurd. And we finally end up getting them weeks later. And he's got all these redacted, itemized transactions. And Corey, an underwriter's not going to accept that. They're
For
like,
sure.
what the hell is this? Is this a new car loan? Is this a large deposit? What are you hiding? And so the guy just totally blows me off for days after sending that. And eventually he responds because it's either respond and buy the house or don't respond and don't close. So we get the statements unredacted, and come to find out he was hiding some inappropriate charges for online purchases. And he did not want his wife to find out. And he was afraid that we were going to tell her. And we were like, sir, I promise the underwriter does not care what you do in your free time, nor do I. And we actually shared a good laugh with him after all was said and done because of how just ridiculous it was. The guy thought that he could get away with not sending his source of funds for his down payment, sending redacted bank statements, and then, of all things, thought we were going to rat him out to his wife. So, moral of the story: we need your bank statements unredacted. That's easily my most memorable, laughable real estate story. What about yours, Corey?
So I have a few, but I'll say this one, and I don't know if it'd be a horror
I'm sure you
story or a
do.
funny story, right? But went out to show a house to a client. They were all excited, brought their kiddos. We get in the driveway, they show up, and we walk in the house, and we're going to showing it, and all of a sudden there are fleas everywhere, right?
Oh, I think I heard about this. Oh my gosh, the
So
fleas.
literally, it was funny because it is, but it's a horror story because nobody wants that stuff or gets back in the car with it.
100%.
So
Mm.
it was a mess, and they
Mhm.
didn't buy the house, but
Needless to say,
there
I'm sure
we
they did
go.
not.
It was one of those starts of one for sure.
Love it. Perfect.
What do you think the
Okay.
weirdest client was, Trinity? I know we've had plenty, and I know you've had plenty.
So, the first thing that comes to mind with weirdest is I had, of course, I'm sure you see more of the weird side since you're face to face with them more often. But weirdest client, I would say, was this one man who he probably saw 60 houses in the span of a month. It was just absurd. He was a penny pincher. He had money but didn't want to spend it. You know how that goes. Those are never fun. But he was just so bizarre. He tried to get my commission as the lender. He tried to get the realtor's commission from her side. He even went as
Nice.
far to shop title companies to see what kind of rebates they would give him. So it was absurd. It was just like, I've never had a client do that before. And I think I talked to this guy at least he would call nonstop every day for at least a month. I had to talk to him for 2 hours on the phone daily. It was insane. And even after closing, it didn't stop. He would call me every single month for at least 3 months asking if I could confirm his mortgage payment had posted. I was like, sir, I'm not the mortgage servicer. I love that you're being responsible, but I can't verify that for you actually. So he eventually stopped, and I have not heard from him since. Thank God. That was when I was praying to be done for. So that's definitely my weirdest client, but I'd love to hear yours.
For sure. So, and actually, Trinity will remember the same client. So, obviously, we deal with a
Mhm.
lot of people, a lot of situations. Trinity and I like to consider ourselves extremely creative. So, giving
Yes,
everybody the opportunity, if there's a will, there's a way, we'll figure it out. So,
100%.
we are so much into that, and we want everybody to be blessed with the opportunity to have a home. But
For
this
sure.
client figured that he was going to be smarter than we were, right? And goes and finds a house, gets everybody excited, goes under contract, all of this stuff. but didn't disclose what he really wanted to do, right? So was being creative with his funds and creative with his job and creative with whatever when Trinity even told him exactly what to do and still
Hmm.
didn't do it. So there's laws, there's regulations, and they're all in place for a reason. So take your time, just speak the truth. We can't fix what we don't know.
Right. That I
That's
say that
probably
all
the
the time.
weirdest deal. I've had some off the wall stuff, but as far as the deal goes, that's definitely not one of the funnest.
And I say that all the time. I'm like, we're on the same side. You don't need to
Hmm.
hide anything from me. If anything, I'm the person that you need to be most honest with so that I know what actually is going on. Because the last thing you want is for Corey and I to be the investigator. Because the underwriter's the investigator. They're who goes and they go and poke holes in everything and try to find an issue where there might not even be one. So you don't want, we're on the same side. You want to be honest so that we can help you and guide you on how to fix things, and honesty is the best policy every single time. Yep,
And we're going to fight for your
100%.
behalf. I had a client that
Mhm.
closed on a house, did everything right, great first time home buyers. Seller said that he would fix the roof and get it all done, and they
Mhm.
wouldn't be able to do it until I think it was 2 days after close. And it was going to be amazing just for the buyer to go there, and half the roof was missing, etc.
Oh,
So we fought them tooth and nail to get it perfect for the client. But point of all of it is we're your advocate. We're here to fight
mhm.
for you. We're here to make sure credit situation, financial situation, health situation,
Yep.
everything is as good or better than you would expect. That's our
Mhm.
jobs. And Trinity and I have a ton of experience in doing it. We do it day in and day out. This is not a hobby for us. This is our
Yep.
business, right? And
Mhm.
every one of our clients are a huge capability for sure. And we don't take that lightly, and we don't take our positions lightly. And
For
neither one of
sure.
us take our license lightly.
Yep.
So we're going to do everything ethical. But at the end of the day, if there's something creative we can do, which we've done many times, we're going to
Mhm.
definitely find a way. Trinity, what would you say was,
The most memorable,
yeah, deal that
most
almost died?
memorable.
And we
Yes.
probably can both remember the same one.
I think that we're probably thinking of the exact same one right
Was
now.
it
I
recent?
won't. Oh, yes. So won't say any names, but Corey and I had a client who we worked with this guy for over a year, Corey, I think. Several rounds of credit rescores, all of the things, finally got in a good position to buy. Things were going perfect, go to contract. Corey gets the best. I think the seller paid 100% of his closing costs through seller concessions. It was slam dunk deal. Then we get to the time to verify his earnest money payment. And I get the bank statement, of course, the updated bank statement. And I'm like, wait a second, you have a huge, large deposit the day before you paid your earnest money. What is this? Come to find out, he took out a private lender loan. So it was one of those online, quick cash, not legit loans that had, I kid you not, a 222% interest rate just to pay his $2,500 earnest money. And that it added a $300 monthly to his debt to income ratio, which obviously busted us. It was a huge oh shit moment for sure. But at the end of the day, I will say things did work out. We flipped to a manual underwrite and closed him on time at that. But we were an inch away, a centimeter away from that deal being kaput. Like that was the, and of all things, for it to be for his earnest money and have an interest rate of 222%. My jaw was on the ground. It was probably 3 days of my mouth being wide open and no sleep because I was struggling to find a way to get it to still work. But we did it.
And that's the difference, y'all. It takes a lot of people believe that you go see a house, all of a sudden it comes
Hmm.
together. The lender just does a little bit of paperwork and you go to close. There's so much that goes into this. There's
Right.
inspections, there's earnest money, there's and how not to do a deal. There's appraisals, there's underwriting, there's lots of different things. So when you're out there and you're looking for the right real estate agent, look, see how many they've
Hmm.
sold, see how many houses that they've done. When you're
Look
looking
at
for
their
a lender,
numbers.
how much
Hmm.
volume do they do? Maybe ask the question, right? Because do you want somebody that it's their first day to deal with your biggest asset, or a
Hmm.
lender that's never done it before? I don't think so.
And I
But
think
so many
asking
people are willing to do it.
asking how many deals you've closed or what your volume is much more important than just asking how long have you been in the industry, because you could have somebody that's been a realtor for 20 years and has closed 6 houses in the last 5 years.
Right.
Corey could close 6 in 2 days.
Right.
So asking that rather than just how experienced are you, how long have you been doing this, ask what their numbers are, ask them to show you.
Exactly. And they should be proud of that number, right? Because we work hard
Hmm.
to get it. And it wasn't just
Yep.
given to anyone. It takes a lot of late nights, as Trinity said, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. But at the end of the
Yeah.
day, you want a professional, right? It's a negotiation at every piece. How do I get the best price? How do I get the best deal? How's my interest rate? How's my closing costs? How can I bring less to close? How can I put more down? What does mortgage insurance look like? And one thing that Trinity and I do very different is most people are here just to close your deal. We're not. We want
Just to
to
get a
make you a
paycheck.
lifelong
Hmm.
client. If you're going to, the rates go down, Trinity is going to come back and help you with the refinance. She's not just going to forget about you like every other bank. If
Yep.
the values of properties go up, your situation changes, we're going to help you move out of the house that you're in and move into a different one. So,
Hmm.
sorry, getting a little bit sidetracked there, but Trinity, what would your biggest lesson be in the industry so far?
So, my biggest lesson, I don't want to say this as a generalized statement, but rather just this is for, let me be clear, it does not apply to everybody. There's bad apples of the entire bunch, but doesn't spoil it for everybody. But take everything that buyers say with a grain of salt. And again, this only applies to specific buyers, but that has helped me sharpen my bullshit radar because I know I've learned I have good judgment now. So don't take bullshit. I'm never rude. I'm always polite. I'll never be mean. But if somebody's bullshitting me, I will make them aware of the fact that I know that they are. And the reason I do that is because going back to what we talked about not too long ago, we honesty is the best policy. As if I'm supplied with the clearest picture possible, the most information possible, the utmost truth, your transaction on both sides, for both Corey's side and my side, is going to go so much smoother. You're going to have a seamless closing with no problems. So, really and truly, my biggest lesson has just been take everything that is said from specific buyers with a grain of salt so that our BS radar it's on high alert at all times, because that is one of the ingredients to a good, or I would argue perfect transaction. And I'm sure you'd say the same, Corey. How about you? Biggest lesson?
I would say my biggest lesson is growth and capability.
Right.
Trinity, and as you guys will get to know us, doing business with us, we have our foot all the way through the floor, right?
Uh-huh.
We're high level, high energy, and it was growth, right? And Trinity and I have a ton of conversations about this, but it's not only your real estate agent, it's not only your loan officer, it's everybody that they have to make your experience the best. We have
Mm-hmm.
transaction coordinators here that I have personally. I have executive assistants. I have assistants. I have social media people. We have
Mm-hmm.
people that make what we're doing right now possible, right? So
Right.
we are big on investing back into you as clients, investing to make ourselves as good as we can, to give you as much opportunity and
Yep.
capability as we can, and give first star service. And truly,
Mm-hmm.
that's why our numbers are where they are. Trinity is one of the biggest producing loan officers. We're one of the biggest producing real estate agents. We don't play. We're here to do
Right.
business and we're here to help you, right? And probably my biggest lesson in it was growth, right?
Mm-hmm.
How do you do it? How do you get there? We're all new at one point, right? And it's consistently something that we work to get bigger and bigger. And we
Yep.
want to be the people to teach. I think that's one thing that differs between Trinity, myself, and other people is we want to teach you how to do it. We want you to
Right.
understand the process. We don't want you to get to closing and be like, my payment's 1,600 or 2,600 or whatever it is, but not know what you're really doing, right? So you're financing hundreds of thousands of dollars. You have no reason or idea why not, but yet you're going to sign the damn paper? No,
Yeah.
right? You want to make sure that you know exactly how it works, exactly how the process is going to go, and what A to Z looks like. A to Z is not just one deal. I did a 30-year mortgage and I'm going to stay in the house forever. The average
Yep.
person stays in a house 5 years or less. So we're playing for the future, right? And that is one thing that we do different. We have a lot of clients, as Trinity said before, that may not qualify today, but they qualify
Mm-hmm.
later. And that comes with work and effort and dedication on not only our part, but theirs. So
Yep.
that's probably the biggest thing that I don't want to say even struggled, but a lesson to us is how do we grow to best serve our clients and how do
Yep.
we give the best service that we can? Because Trinity and I are each,
One
right? So
person. We say
we can
that
only
daily.
answer the
I'm
phone
only
so
one
many
person.
times, right? Both of
Hmm.
us are sitting here doing this where our phones are going insane as we speak. So it is our goal and it is a big thing to us. And that's why we're really doing this is we want people to reach out and find out that it's different. We're not the
Hmm.
same. We're not like everyone else. We don't do business like everyone else.
Right.
So that's extremely important to me. I want first class service, first class business. When I met Trinity, I had a different lender and not here to point names or say anything else. But I asked Trinity one thing. I said, all I ask from you is you do your job and do it well. And I've never one time had to call Trinity and ask her if she could get to
Yep.
closing or anything else. So it is a key piece. We've put it together for you. We put together the right lender, the right capabilities. We use the right title companies, the right inspectors. So every step of what you're getting, and when you buy it, there's no secrets, right? We don't do that type of business. So
Right.
I guess
I love
craziest
that.
showing I've ever done, Trinity.
Oh, I'm excited for this one. Yes. Tell
Hmm.
us.
I actually have to think for a second, but usually they're more so involving. Actually, I'll say this one. So I had a family come out, and I love showing families with kids, right? They like to pick the
Hmm.
bedrooms and do all the other stuff, and it's exciting. But it also gives me a bit of anxiety walking in the house because if it's
Sure.
not empty, now I have to worry about everybody redecorating, right?
Yes.
So that was one of the biggest ones that I had. I had a kid figure that one of these bendable items was a good thing for him to touch. So,
Hmm.
not so, right? And we made it work at the end of the day, but it was touch and go for a minute, and my level of anxiety and stress was at the peak of it. So that's probably the biggest
That's
one.
that's fun.
I have creative ones, but we'll get into those at a whole different time.
Some of these stories could have been avoided with acknowledging some red flags at the start, not maybe much so on our part, could be avoided with some due diligence on the buyer's end. But when we catch these red flags early, which we all always do, things can still go perfect. I think that moral of the story is no, there's no perfect deal. Honestly,
Right.
there really isn't. Every deal has its own issues, its own stressors, whether that be on the financing side or Corey's side with the property inspections, sellers, stuff like that. I get some of that even on my end. So nothing ever goes perfectly, but that just goes to show that the importance of having the right dynamic duo on both your financing and your real estate side is so important because a lot of these things can be avoided up front and they can be fixed. I always say that nothing is not fixable. Everything can be fixed for the most
Right.
part.
Well, and
but
some of the clients that we get, Trinity, have said before, especially in the first initial conversation with them, they're like, we're scared to move. And I'm like, doesn't make any sense. But their fear
mhm,
is not getting a different house. Their fear
right.
is the process. It's last time I did this, they needed this. Or back when I did mortgages myself, it was the fear of you get to the closing table and it may not look exactly like it did when you first got the
Yeah,
deal, right? So that's another thing that we try to do is make sure you understand everything, make sure when you're going through the
100%.
process it's well laid out. I ask Trinity for closing costs when we're doing offers and things like that, and you can basically put it to the penny. It's
Right.
very accurate. We pride ourselves on making sure that you understand the process. Just like Trinity said,
Mhm.
deals can blow up on inspections. There's stuff that comes up that we don't know.
Yep.
There's, or didn't see, I guess would be a better way of saying it. But through those processes, we're going to give you the experience. Have it. I have construction experience, mortgage experience, obviously real estate experience, and lots of contacts and capabilities, same as Trinity does, to make sure to mitigate that risk. So when we talk about it, and I know I'm going to say it again, and you're like, you're already repeating yourself, but that dynamic is so important because if you're getting
Mhm.
someone that doesn't do it, they might have sold 10 houses or 20 houses or maybe even 40, right? 40 is not a seasoned professional. Sorry.
Yep.
And I'm going to hurt
Yeah.
some people's feelings with that, but it is what it is, right? But I started somewhere too. I know you got to get to 40 first. The difference is that means they only negotiated 40 deals, right? I've negotiated in hundreds of deals. on a daily basis, just as Trinity's done, right? So it does go into the experience, and obviously owning the brokerage, I'm not only negotiating my own, but I'm negotiating agents' deals of mine.
Yep.
Right.
You
So
do.
I feel like that's all I do all day is negotiate. Maybe more so with my 7-year-old, but we use the terminology here, iron sharpens iron, right?
Yep.
So the more you do something, the better you get. And we do it a lot.
Yep.
So I do want to iterate that as you're looking for a professional, as you're looking for a real estate agent and a mortgage professional, do your research. Don't just go with the first person. I get people that go with agents for any reason. They like the way they look. They like the car they drove. Who knows? But that doesn't mean they're going to get you the best deal. And that's what you want at the end of the day, right? Maybe you want one with hair. I don't happen to have that, but we make up for it in other ways, right?
Very true. Thank you guys for tuning into the closing table this week. We hope you enjoyed our horror stories as much as I know we did. Wink,
Or
wink.
didn't.
Or did not, yes. But we hope you guys like, subscribe, follow us on both of our socials, and we will see you all next week when we go over our red flags in real estate.
You're not going to want to miss it. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye, guys.